I had some health issues a little while ago. And it's nothing that buying all of my books will cure. But it was slightly embarrassing in that I went to the doctor and some of my diagnosis involved a stool sample. And I'll spare you the details. But what you need to know is my doctor only employs beautiful women. And I had to return the stool sample to the doctor and hand a sack of my poo to a beautiful woman, which is slightly humiliating because there's no real suave way to do it. You can't just walk in, "Hi there, got some poo, made it myself." It's good shit. And the reason I mention all this, aside from constant need to just talk about my own humiliations, is that writing the Grievers is almost an exercise in just piling humiliations upon the different characters. And it's only with that sense of distance that you get from the actual events that you start to be able to overcome them. So what I'm going to read tonight, two fairly humiliating incidents, one on top of the other, in the life of my character, Charlie Schwartz. The idea, as far as I could gather, was for me to march back and forth in front of the bank dressed in the giant $sign costume, so passing motorists would know that there was money in the building behind me. The costume was made of polystyrene and corrugated plastic, and was studded with green sequins that glittered in the sun. It wasn't quite the size of a refrigerator box, but walking around in the thing was so awkward that it might as well have been. A little grate positioned below eye level let in light and air, and offered just enough peripheral vision to keep me from wandering off the lawn and into the path of oncoming traffic. Vents above my head and shoulders kept me from roasting alive as I marched along, hands poking out of the costume in white cotton gloves, one clutching a fistful of balloons, the other twitching in a half-hearted wave, while my skinny legs wobbled back and forth and side to side in an effort to keep the whole bulky mess from toppling over. Adding insult to injury, I also had to wear green stockings and rubber boots along with everything else because, in the opinion of my immediate supervisor, it didn't make sense for a $sign to be standing on the side of the road in bright white sneakers, especially in June. Aesthetic concerns aside, the boots turned out to be a good idea because the lawn was already muddy, and it wasn't uncommon for the sprinklers to come on while I was on the clock. My first day on the job, a tractor-trailer rumbled by, and the backdraft knocked me off my feet. I fell backwards onto the lawn and let go of my balloons and lay there for 20 minutes before anyone noticed my predicament. When a pair of tellers eventually came out of the bank to help me, they sighed audibly as their shoes squished across the muddy lawn. "Lean into the wake of the larger vehicles," one of them said with an air of experience, as they helped me onto my feet, "but know when to let up. And tie the balloons to your wrist," the other said. "Otherwise you'll keep losing them." I tried to thank them for the advice, but they were behind me somewhere, and by the time I turned around, they were gone. Then the sprinklers came on, and I wondered what would happen if I tried to hitch a ride with the next tractor-trailer that came rumbling down the highway. The question, however, was rendered moot when I took 2 steps and slipped in the mud again. This chain of events established the pattern that carried me through the next few days, the only difference being that the tellers ignored me for exponentially longer stretches of time each time I fell over. On the morning after my conversation with Mrs. Chin, I managed to pace the lawn and wave at oncoming traffic for a good 15 minutes before the sprinklers started spitting at me, and I slipped once again on the slick, muddy lawn. By that time, the tellers had apparently agreed amongst themselves to pretend that I didn't exist, so my only recourse was to set my balloons free and curl into a ball inside my big boxy costume.